Okay, so this was the last slide that we had during, we stopped at the slide during the last presentation. Just as a recap here, this is the duty rating of the ladders. So please watch the previous video in order to get the explanation when it comes to this topic. And also you have the stickers that basically tell you this kind of information on the ladders that you purchase. Right? Now, extension ladders. So we talked about the step ladders. Here's anatomy of the step ladder. Here are the front rails right here, and here are the back rails and whatnot, and steps. Well, and on the step ladder, you would call these steps, and on the extension ladder, well, you can still, you're going to hear people call them steps, but they're actually called rungs. Right? So this is anatomy of the step ladder, and here is the anatomy of the extension ladder. Right. So the extension ladder has something that there was two sections. It has a base section. So it's like two straight ladders, put one on top of the other, and they can slide. So it has a base section that is going to be not moving. And here is the fly section, the movable section. So this thing slide, you can slide it. And there's a little pulley right here. See if I can get better pointer here. Uh, view. It was Control L. Was it for full view? Rotate view. I don't know. Full screen Control L. I pressed that, but nothing happened. Okay, now we got a little bit better pointer here. All right, so extension ladder. So here is the slide rail, and here on top of that is the fly section, or the base section. Sorry, the base section and the fly section. The base section stays, the fly section moves up and down, it extends. And there's a little pulley right here, and there's a rope. And one end of the rope is tied to one of the rungs here, and the other one goes around the pulley, and you can pull on that rope. And as you pull on that rope, that thing moves up because it uses that pulley wheel here, and it's just going to pull this rung of the fly section. And then it has those rung locks. It's just kind of they're self-latching. So when you go, they click, they click, they click. And then if you want to go back, you're just going to pull them out and make sure they close. And then you can, well, you are going to, when they use that ladder, you're going to know a little bit more, because here's a video. But here's the thing with the videos versus reality: you can watch 10,000 hours of a video, and then if you just do something for 10 minutes, sometimes it can give you more than the 10 hours of talking about it. All right, so anyways, so here, well, what else do we have here? Anti-slip safety shoes or feet. So that's this part right here. Okay. If it's a flat surface, you're going to put them flat down. If it is some sort of, well, dirt or something like that, sometimes you can flip them up and have those rails dig in. So depending on the situation. And there's a rope, and there's a, okay, yeah, so pretty much they're side rails. Okay. Now, let me just, while I'm talking, I'm going to fire up my Photoshop so I can get a proper board in order to show you. So that thing is starting, and we keep talking. All right. So now let's talk about some of the what do we have to consider when we're working with the extension ladders. So let's say consider a placement and pitch of the ladder. All right. A sec here. New here. There. Okay, I'm ready with my board, because there's going to be something that I'll have to explain to you in a second. So consider a placement and the pitch of the ladder. Placement is a placement. What is it standing on? What is it leaning up against, and all that stuff. Pitch. What is a pitch? Well, pitch is the angle that the ladder is leaning one way or the, well, there will be a surface here, like a face of the building, and you're going to lean the ladder on top. So the angle that it leans, that's called a pitch. Pitch right here. And we need to also consider a proper, we need to secure and stabilize the ladder properly. What does it mean properly? That means that, well, it has to be safe and it has to be functional, both. All right, so here, let's talk about the pitch. And yes, it is going to be on a test. How many feet is this ladder? Well, let's count the rungs, because you know what? The rungs are placed 1 foot apart. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So approximately this ladder from here to there is about 12 feet. Now, here's a 4-to-1 ratio. So if this ladder is 12 feet high in a straight line from top to bottom, that's the height, then it needs to be 3 feet away. The bottom of the ladder, the feet of the ladder have to be 3 feet away from the face of the whatever it is we're working with. And that would give us 4-to-1 ratio. For every 4 feet, you move away 1 foot in order to have a proper placement. What happens if you bring that ladder too close? If you bring the ladder too close, as you're climbing it, you're going to have, with your own body, you're going to provide the center gravity that is going to be too far from the wall. And it would, if the pitch is too steep, you can actually, with your weight, you can pull the ladder away from the face of the building, and you can come down with the ladder onto the ground. And that will be not a very happy situation, to say the least. So if you go too close, if you go too far out, then there's a chance that you're not going to have enough distribution of the forces one way and the other. So you're not going to have enough, so to say, grip onto the wall. And if it's too far, there's a chance that your weight could push the whole thing down, so it can slide down forward, and it is going to come down, and you will come down with it. And again, it would be not a very happy situation, again, to say the least. Right, so remember the 4-to-1 pitch ratio. Right, so if it was a 4-foot ladder, you're gonna have 1 foot away. Well, 4-foot extension ladder, well, maybe there are some. Right, but usually you got like 20 feet, 10 feet, well, whatever you're going to extend, because this is just a straight ladder. But if you are going to extend the extension ladder, the fly section, sometimes you're going to get higher, sometimes you're going to get lower. Just count the rungs and divide them by 4, and that's going to give you the amount of feet that is the safest for you. So 20 feet, example, if there's a 20 feet high in a straight line, then you will have to extend the ladder 5 feet. No ifs and buts. All right. Now, also, when accessing another level, remember in the previous slides, I said that a ladder has to extend 3 feet above the landing surface. That's what it is. You're climbing the ladder from the bottom to the top to land on this surface. So that's your landing surface. Right? Now, you need to have 3 feet above that landing surface in order to comfortably get on and off the ladder. How do you know we have 3 feet? 1, 2, 3, and there's a little bit of that. So there's an angle, so compensates. So it's about 3 feet. Then you can have a comfortable access on and off the ladder. If you ever tried sometimes climbing on to the landing surface when the ladder is just sticks 1 foot or something, then you're getting into an uncomfortable situation. And if you get into an uncomfortable situation, you start improvising. And when you improvise, usually you're compromising. And then if you're compromising, then you're putting yourself at risk. Can you go back to the last slides? Didn't finish copying the example. It will be this here will be I'm going to post it right after the whole presentation is going to be posted in the student section. So you don't need to even copy that. You can just download the whole thing. But here it is, the thing. Okay. So let's keep moving here. Yeah, no problem. Okay. Extension ladders should be secured at the top or bottom to prevent movement. Well, that's what it says here, and that's what I'm going to go by. But here's the thing: if you secure the ladder from the top, then it's going to prevent the ladder from sliding sideways. Right? If you secure the ladder on the bottom, it is going to prevent the ladder from sliding backwards. Well, here's my opinion on this thing. It's my private opinion. I don't want to indoctrinate you by giving you my private opinions, but in this case, I think I'm safe to say that it should be both. Right? In order to be legal, you just secure top or bottom, but it should be both. Who cares what the rules say? And I'm saying that with a grain of salt. Yes, of course, we do care what the rules say. The rules are made for us to follow, so we are safe in this case. There are some other rules, never mind. But uh, what you're looking for is you're looking for your own safety, and you're taking care of your own body, because if you can follow any rules that are incomplete, and if you get hurt, then well, okay, maybe someone is going to notice that, yeah, maybe we should make it end. Okay, you make it end. All right, so read this. This is how you read this one here. Extension ladders should be secured at the top and at the bottom to prevent movement. Get that there, right? The base of an extension ladder must be secured in place by using the safety feet on the ladder or other effective means. Well, sometimes you have to read the manual. Yes, sometimes ladders do come with the manual. All right, so here's an example of securing a ladder on the top. Just tie it off. And I would just dare you to, well, not dare you, I would encourage you, when you're driving or walking and you see some construction going on, see how the ladders are placed. Look for the tie-offs. I bet you're going to see them. And I bet you're going to see the any of the extension ladders or anything like that. You're going to see 3 feet above and they're going to be tied off. You didn't notice that before, but you probably will now. Right? So here's another example of securing the ladder to the face of the building if there's nothing else to secure it to. But secure it. You need to secure the ladder. And here's an example of securing the ladder on the bottom. Uh, there will be some wood planks to put on and securing things so things don't move away, so they stay in one place, or securing it this way so it doesn't slide out. So there's a couple of examples here. Or you can drive something in the ground and and do that. Now here's a bad example of the feet. All right, so the feet in here you can just slide them up, flip them up so that that part of the rail digs into the ground. Now you're gonna have to use your judgment too, because if the ground is too soft, you're just going to dig in too much, and when you're on top of it, of the ladder, when something is happening on the bottom, well, that could make your heart beat a little bit faster if you're lucky, and that's all going to be, but here is another example of a bad situation here. Looks like there's some sort of improvisation happening here. Right, is that some type of a rock, or is it something? So that's not a really good not really good situation, uh, because if you start improvising, then things happen. And when it comes to ladder and safety, as I said in the previous presentation, sometimes when you're just starting out, reading statements, safety statements, and the reasoning behind that is just going to make sense or not to you, but you're supposed to follow that anyways. But when like for example, I take example of like myself, working about over 30 years in the business, on and off, but about 30 years or so. And when you see some of the statements, safety statements and reasons behind it, sometimes you get the flashes from the past of you actually seeing things and you actually not just making, it doesn't make sense just reading it on paper or on a screen, but it actually makes sense because you actually have seen something that happened. And yeah, okay. So you might notice that at some point, some of my voice might change slightly, or my facial expression can change because sometimes some things are hard to forget. Right? Uh, so take it seriously, guys. Take it seriously. All right. So what else do we have here? Stabilizing ladders. There are devices that you can mount onto the ladder. It's going to give you a better angle as far as stabilizing, depending, well, it all depends on what kind of surface you're dealing with and all that stuff. So as you go and as you gain experience through doing things, um, you are going to be exposed to different situations on one by one basis. Nobody's going to throw you on the deep water and ask you to swim. First, you're going to work with other people. You're going to watch them, what equipment they use and what rules they have to follow and all that. That has to do that, all that stuff that has to go, that has to go with it. And then later on, you're going to feel more and more comfortable that you're going to make your own decisions. I'm just leading you in. I'm walking you through the doorway and I'm showing you this rabbit hole here. All right. Now, on the bottom here, there's also different gadgets that are available, and it will be the foot extensions. Right. Things have to be done. Do not improvise. And if you don't have a proper setup, it's not worth it. Right. Even if you get fired, um, then if somebody's trying to make you do something that is unsafe and you refuse and you get fired, you're still it's a still win situation for you, even if you have to look for another job. Right? But as times are moving on, I doubt that you're going to have somebody who is not smart to the point that they're going to ask you to do some unsafe situations, unsafe tasks. Even if you're not comfortable with something, let the people know and just don't do it. It's not worth it. But here is the foot extension. Do not improvise. Use things that are made for it. It also covers you on a legal basis. If you improvise something, there's always going to be some hotshot lawyer that is going to try to get anything, find anything that you possibly could have done wrong. So, and if you find anything that you could possibly have done right, you're covered, right? Or have a better chance of being covered. Um, Keep going. There's a going back to the step ladder. Um, when it comes to the step ladders, only use in fully open position on firm level ground. That's the step ladders. Fully open position. There are those braces, the side braces. They need to be fully opened, and they kind of like when you open them, when they open properly, they sort of like lock. Like it's almost like a camming action. All right, like a cam on the cams on the engine, right? So it's like a camming action here. So have them fully extended, fully locked, and that is the proper way of using the step ladder. Well, sometimes what you're going to see people folding the ladder. So it's just going to be just work one and leaning against, just using as a straight ladder. This ladder is not designed to do that. So, well, are you going to see that? Yes, you're going to see that. Please don't do it. That's all I'm going to say. Don't do it. Are you going to find yourself in a situation that you will do it? Chances are that you're going to probably break the rules sometimes. I'm telling you not to break those rules. Your safety is your safety. Right? Okay. So only use on the fully open position uh, on firm level ground. Do not use a step ladder that is folded, which is basically what I just told you. Never sit or stand on the top two rungs or the top two steps of the the step ladder. I don't know why they did that, but here, let's just go back. Page up, page up, page up, page up. Here. Right. This is a very short example of a step ladder. Sometimes you're going to have longer ladders, right? So where can your feet be? Your feet can stand on this step. Your feet can stand on this step, and that's as far as you can go. You have to have that one step before the top cap, free of your feet standing. Of course, this 2-foot ladder is not going to get you that far, but sometimes that's all you need. But when you're talking about higher ladders, you're going to go up, and you should never step on this one. You should never step on that one. This is the top cap and the bottom cap. So that's what this means. So just go back to the, all right. Do not, never sit or stand on the top two. It says rungs, but they mean the steps, or rungs as well as far as the extension ladder goes. Right? Consider work height when selecting a step ladder. Well, that goes back, that we can go back to that table, or not the table, the sticker here. Look at those stickers. Do you know how high you're going to have to go? Well, assess the situation first. How high do you have to go to work on whatever you have to work on? Well, on this sticker, this is a sticker for the extension ladder. This is a sticker they can find in the step ladder. Maximum reach. Oh, look at that. It says maximum reach. Well, it's kind of a blurry here, but it's blown up version of what it says here. Maximum reach. This is the 6-foot step ladder, and the maximum reach of that, based on the average height of a human being, somebody has calculated that this thing is rated for the maximum reach when you stand, and how high can you reach with your hand, and it's estimated to be 10 feet. That's when you're standing on the not the top cap, not on the step right below that, but on the 1, 2, 3 from the top. If you reach up, you're gonna reach 10 feet. So that's what it means. Jumping here. Consider the height when selecting a step ladder. You need to be working comfortably. Here's a piece of advice. Well, some people have the fear of heights, some people don't. Some people think that they have fear of heights just because they are not used to being on some sort of a height thing, elevation. One advice I'm going to give you: if you if you climb higher than your comfort level, slightly higher maybe, and if you don't feel comfortable, by all means, climb back down and just don't do this job. But sometimes there's another way of finding things about yourself. Because you might think that you have fear of heights, but maybe you don't. When you go higher, just stand there or sit. If it's a boom lift or a scissor lift or something like that, if you're not used to that, yes, things are going to look a little strange for you. So just stop working, don't do anything, just stand and look around, or just take your time for your eyes and for your perception to get used to that situation. And after a couple minutes, you are going to get familiar with the position that you're in, and maybe you're not going to maybe you're going to find out that it's not as scary as it seemed at the beginning. So whenever you get get to the height that is less comfortable than you think, just stop, don't do anything, just enjoy you being there, right? And trust me, as the seconds go by, as the minutes go by, you are going to get yourself comfortable in that position. And then once you are comfortable, your hands are not shaking, you're not tense, then you are pretty much ready to do whatever you have to do as work. And then um, I think it's the fear of falling. Yeah, I'm not into psychology or psychiatry, so I think there could be many reasons why people would have the fear of heights. But I'm not going, because in the position that I'm in, I could have a private discussion with anyone and I can say whatever I want. But because I'm officially the teacher here, I just gotta be careful with some of my opinions because I'm in a little different position. So yes, it could be that, all right, but I'm not going to teach you about that, the human brain. I can up to some point, but sometimes I can say some things, and sometimes it's not appropriate for me to talk about topics that I'm not trained on. All right, but yeah, I could. It could very well be. All right, I'll say with a smile. All right? So consider the height. Okay, face the ladder when ascending or descending. You gotta do it this way. That's facing the ladder. Some people turn around and they just come down. I'm not sure whether for fun or whatnot. You gotta face the ladder in order to be safe. Maintain 3 points of contact at all times. Let's see, let's take a look at this guy. I'm gonna zoom it in a little bit. All right, how many points of contact this guy has when he's climbing this ladder? A 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, because he's got 2 hands, he's got 2 feet. He is touching the ladder at 4 points, 4 points of contact. Of course, you're going to have to let one of them go one at a time in order to climb or come down from the ladder, right? Because if you want to have 4 points of contact all times, it will be just standing there. But how did you get there, right? So 3 points of contact. What does it say here? Maintain 3 points of contact at all times. So if you let go, you just let go of 1 contact, and the other 3 have to be on the ladder. So you can let go and position in a different way, or reposition your 1 hand or the other hand, or 1 foot or the other foot. 1 only leaves the ladder in order for you to move. It might feel a little bit unnatural for you, but just think of it that you're in the Spider-Man movie and you're the Spider-Man. Right? It's going to make you feel like a Spider-Man if you just have that. It's gonna kind of like that, right? But after a while, you get used to it, and it's actually the safest way to ascending or descending the ladder. All right. Here. Keep your body centered on the ladder. That's a big one. Right? And here's the thing: there's another thing that goes with it, which is never let your belt buckle pass either side rail. So that's why I needed to fire up my Photoshop so I could have my board going. All right. Probably you remember from your physics class, you have an object. Oh yeah, different. If you have an object, if you have an object, you probably remember that from your physics class. Here's an object, and here is the surface that the object is standing. And if you tie a string and you mount a level on it, and if you go high enough or low enough that you're actually going to find the center of gravity of this object, the object is steady, it's at the equilibrium. If you tilt that object a little bit, like that. Of course, things are going to change because the level is still going to be okay. We're still going to be. Now, if you draw the line here, that level is still, the center of gravity is still within the base shadow. It's still within the base because that's the base of the object. Then the object is going to remain standing. If you tilt it a little bit further, and wherever that weight is, and it's going to be beyond the shadow of the base of the object, that object is going to fall on its side. No ifs, ands, and buts. So that's from your physics class, maybe from elementary school or maybe from your high school. Grade 11 physics, grade 12 physics, maybe it is. Well, now we're looking at the reality of the situation. So here's the ladder. For example, here are the rungs of the ladder. Not a very straight, ladder here, and I got something going on outside. Okay, I just texted that person who is outside. See if they can turn that off for just for a couple of minutes. All right. So if you are standing on this ladder, so let's say this is your body, all right, and this would be your legs, and this would be your belt buckle, all right here. And if you overreach, if you overreach a little bit, and if your belt buckle leaves the side rail, then you're going to have this situation here. You are going to fall if the center of gravity, because the whole system, the system is going to consist of you and the ladder, you on the ladder. Okay, so that's that's what the statement says here. Never let your belt buckle pass either side rail. One thing I'm going to leave you with here is the aluminum vase versus the fiberglass ladder. Aluminum conducts electricity. And if the aluminum conducts electricity, I think they got the text. All right. If the aluminum conducts electricity, it's not a good idea to have that conductor and you on it within the environment that you have live electricity. Of course, you're not supposed to have live circuits when you're working on them, but there's always that what if situation. Okay, so it is not recommended to use the aluminum ladders for the electrical workers. Use the fiberglass ladders. They're heavier to carry, but they are safer to use and they last longer. Right? Okay, so this was the last slide. And remember when I say, that's what I said before. I always say that it's almost Friday, and I said that on Monday. And I was right, because look, it is Friday now. So enjoy the weekend, and I will see you when I see you next time. Okay, have a great weekend, guys. Thank you. Good show. Take care. Yeah, thank you. Where do I stop this thing? Okay, here's the button. Here's a button. There's the button. another button right here.